Hello everyone, my name's Ash and today I'm here with Finn, who is our best Flemish string maker here at Merlin. So today he's going to give us a quick walkthrough on everything to do with Flemish strings. He even makes his own, which are going to be sold on Merlin very soon, so you might want to check those out if you are interested. But without further ado, Finn, what is a Flemish string?
So a Flemish string is where the material that you use to make the string actually holds itself together. So as you can see, these little frays here, that is the string material itself, rather than on a standard string, the serving binding it together so it stops the string from falling apart. So at the minute we're using D10, which is probably my preferred material. I am going to be switching to D97 for the Finn strings. The reason I use this is because it's soft enough on the bows, so it's not going to damage the bows at all. I have seen people use Trophy in the past. I have made one string with Trophy before. It's just way too harsh on the traditional bows which you use Flemish on. So you can end up damaging, and Bear actually recommend that D97, and that's what they sell with their bows as well. So that's why I tend to use that. Things like long bows, they use Dacron. So spools like this, you'll see, they're Dacron. This is called Dacrogen. So I'll use that material to make longbow strings, because at the end of the day it's a stick of wood, so anything that doesn't stretch too much is going to be way too harsh on the bow and will just damage it. Okay?
We are using also a bare paw string and jig.
Yeah, they're on the website under string jigs, so you'll be able to find that there for you.
Cool, so where do we start?
Right, to begin with, you want to pick whichever material you want to use, whichever colours. Obviously it's going to be your personal preference. Just going to tie a knot in the string on one of the strands and put it on the furthest bottom right peg. Tie it twice so it's not going to move anywhere. Just give it a little tug, make sure that it's tight. Then we're going to go right down to the bottom peg, wrap around the outside, and then come up to the middle one right in the center of the board. Now as you can see, all these different numbers, these are going to measure to what the actual string length is. So I'm making it for a 64-inch bow, so I need it 3 inches shorter. That's a rule of thumb. This is going to be something that you're going to be able to vary with, because it depends on what string maker and how they twist the string. So we'll go around the measuring peg, back down to the bottom, right up to the top and where you started. Now we're going to repeat this. We're going to want a 14 strand string. Alright, so that's for the knock size. We're going to go around the top 2 pegs twice, and then after that, on the next 5, we're going to reduce a peg each time. So as you can see, we move from the furthest peg away to the second one down, and we're just going to continue with that.
So how many times do we go around in total then?
So in total, you're going to want to go around the board 7 times. That will make half the string.
Is there any limitations to using a Flemish string?
With Flemish strings being a bit thicker around the knock ends, it does tend to be a little slower. However, it does make the bow quieter, so you don't need to add anything like beaver puffs to reduce the noise on the string. So in reality, they won't be too much slower if you're adding beaver puffs to silence your bow onto these, because they cause a lot of drag and will slow the string down anyway. So now we've got 7 strands, we've got 2 on here, so that makes 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to cut down the middle of the strands. Now we'll move the top 2 away from the bottom peg where we tied off, and you're just going to cut that as well. Alright, so that's cut off there. You can pull this away. You're going to want to keep this for a later stage, so we'll just put that there. Let's roll the string material. And then just bind your strings together through your fingers. If you want, you can add a bit of wax. This one's bone and seal tight. You can also find that on our website along with all other wax. We prefer this one, but It's going to be down to personal preference. You can get some nice coloured ones, whatever takes your fancy really. Alright, and we'll put this to one side for later. Grab your other colour, find the end.
Same again for the second string?
Same again, yeah, we're going to tie it off and do the same process.
Is there a reason we use two different colours?
The colours is just a personal preference. You can make it all the same colour, or you can mix it up, have many colours in the string, because it's all going to bind together at the end of it, so we'll be fine mixing them up.
How about if we wanted to use a different strand?
If you wanted a different strand in the material, there are manufacturers that do use that. Me personally, I don't like the idea, because obviously different materials are going to stretch at different rates. So a lot of people are putting a stranded Dacron in theirs. I'm going to not do that, because Dacron will stretch at a rate of knots. So it actually becomes a wasted bit of material in the string. So there's no need for it really. The only idea that I can think of using that is to pad out the end loops, but you can just add another strand in at a later stage.
So what's the reason we go for 14 strands in general?
Each material has different thickness, so a manufacturer will give you a recommended strand count. The knot size also comes into play, and the poundage of the bow sometimes. If it's a really heavy poundage, you will need a thicker strand count. Now we've got 7 strands of black as well. Cut that in half. Move the strands out of the way and cut where we tied off. And same again, bind them together through your fingers.
So same again, we're just going to wax the string, just like we did with the red one.
So just bind them together through your fingers. Now we can pick up the other half of the string. Both ends want to be matched up together, so next to each other. And then we're going to line it up on the furthest line from the screw peg. Wrap it around this peg clockwise twice, and then we'll go anti-clockwise on the bottom peg once. Alright, this is going to be the tricky bit. This is the first bit of Flemish that you'll see. So you want to turn the string, the two separate strands clockwise, and then you're moving your right hand over your left. So in this case, black over red, and then obviously they've switched over, so red over black. Then continue this until you've got either approximately 2 inches of Flemish, or if you've got another string, you can match it up so the loop size is the same. So we want to unwrap the string now from the peg. Now you want to keep it under a bit of tension so you don't lose the twists. Alright, so put your loop in the middle. Now at the minute I've got black with red, and same again on the other side. So what we can do is do one more twist so that they match up. This is just to make it look a bit neater, otherwise you get mixed colours coming back down the string. Some people like that, so it's fine, it's not going to affect any performance wise, so it doesn't matter too much. If you're struggling at the first stage to get them together, just do it mixed, it's going to look fine. So we're doing the same again, put clockwise twists in, and then red over black, black over red, just alternating as it goes. So this is where the cut ends are going to come out of it. As you can see, they come off at different lengths. So that creates a nice tapered string.
Yeah, you wrap all the way around past the loose strands. They may stick out, but that's not too much of a problem. You can even just cut them off if they are getting in the way. Some people even like them.
So just untwist the string as you go along as well, so it doesn't get all knotted underneath you. you are going to have to stop about an inch after the last strand comes out. That's for a hybrid, this string. If it's for a recurve, obviously you want the Flemish to follow all around the curve, so you'll do it a bit longer, maybe 2 inches past the last strand, and that should cover you for any curve of the limb. So there's the last strand, about an inch after that. This is where this string comes in handy. Just tie it off so we don't lose any of the twists back down into the separate parts of the string. Now this stage is fairly critical. The more time you put into this, the better your string's gonna come off. We're just gonna untwist the strands so they're straight again. That way we can put twists in at the other end to account for the Flemish that we do here, and that way the strings will come out straight again and they'll marry up nicely and create a nice solid string. Right. So once you've finished getting all the twists out of both strands, both halves of the string, usually I'll walk away with the loop still on the peg, but I haven't got enough room here, so we'll just move the ball right to the corner.
This is where I come in handy.
Yes, this is where we've got Ash as our lovely assistant here, just to hold the string board down. It's nice if you can fix the board down, because that way you don't need a second person to do this. But under a bit of tension, just pull both strands up, so they've got a bit of tension on each one, and then we can actually twist them clockwise again. Because it's only for a hybrid bow, we're going to twist it up 16 times. That will leave us enough for going back down the string to create enough Flemish. As this is for a hybrid, we're going to put 16 twists back into each side of the string. That way we have enough Flemish to come back down the string without interfering with the bow, without slowing it down too much. If we were doing it for a recurve, we'd do maybe 20. That allows for the curve of the limb and a bit more Flemish. So we've got 16 clockwise twists in each. So again, bit of tension on them. Pinch them further down because you're going to want to measure it up for the loop. And then we'll come back to the board and bring the board back to me. Unhook this one. And then measure both ends up to the bottom line. Again, twice around clockwise and then once around anti-clockwise.
So we're measuring up to the bottom line this time because we're making the smaller loop on the bottom end of the string.
So clockwise again, same process as you've done before, right over left. Keep the twist going down the Flemish, otherwise you'll end up with oddly sized gaps.
As you can see, we're still using the same technique as we were doing last time, just crossing them over and under.
So with this one, it only needs to be about 1.5 inches for the smaller loop. You can use the other end of the string just to check the loop size, make sure it is a little smaller, which that will come out just fine.
Making sure you're keeping tension in the string still.
Bring them together, and on this end we've ended up with red and red on one side and black on the other.
Again, if they don't line up, you can just add an extra twist in one end and make sure they do.
Now, because we've put twists in these, it's quite hard to get them to straighten out again, but if you can manage to put the time in, it does look very nice at the end as an end product. But don't worry too much, it's not going to affect the performance if you can't do that on your first, second or third go.
So again, following all the way down to the bottom end, it doesn't matter too much if there are a couple of strands poking out. We will be able to cut them off later.
So we're just going to continue past the last strand again. Obviously these ones are shorter, so you can go about the same distance. So the reason we put the twists back into the strands, each half of the string, is so at this stage we can pinch it at the end of the Flemish this end, go back up to the other, pinch it again, pull each one tight, and hopefully you should be left with no twist left in this string here. So I've got a few, so what I can do is just do a couple more twists of the Flemish to remove them. That way you'll get the best performance out of your string. Now, believe me, I've made many of these, so they don't always match up correctly. It's not going to matter too much. Now we unhook this end and put the one with the tie on the hook. Pull it tight. Now you want to pre-tense this with the twist the way that the Flemish will tighten. Pull it tight and then you can let go with your left hand, and as you can see, twist right down the string. Twist it enough just so the Flemish isn't just going to run into the strands, otherwise you'll end up with uneven twists in the string. Bind it together, and that is your Flemish twist string finished. The only thing left to do on there is the serving, but that will be covered in another video.
Yep, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something. Let us know how well your Flemish strings went as well down in the comments below. I hope this helped. We'll see you again.
See you soon.